everyone, and welcome to our podcast, Power of Words. Thanks for stopping by.
Hi, I'm Jenny Starr. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the Health and Wellness Specialist for the Kansas City Public Library.
And I'm Sandra Wallace. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the Director of Mental Health Programs at Jewish Family Services of Greater Kansas City. I'm glad to be back doing a program again with Jenny.
Oh, thanks, Sandra. Sandra and I have worked together on mental health programming for several years, and we're pleased to bring you our latest project where we talk with community members and connect stories through words that matter.
We're excited to have our guests share a little bit about their mental health journeys and their love for Kansas City. We've asked each of our guests to share an example of how specific words have empowered, changed, encouraged, or strengthened their mental health and wellness.
We hope one or two of the words from our conversation today allow you to connect to words that matter to you. Hi, everyone. Before you get started with this episode, I want to let you know that Sandra had to leave unexpectedly during our conversation with Jana. We made the decision to continue recording, but you'll notice about halfway through, Sandra drops out of the conversation. But don't worry, she'll be back for our entire next episode. We hope you enjoy our conversation with Jana Meister. Hi, everybody. Welcome. How are you, Sandra?
I am good. You've been watching some football lately?
Sandra, I have.
I know. It's some exciting and some
I
disappointing.
think we should talk about your football. I know you watch both, actually, but
I do. I know. Yeah. Yeah. But I think when you watch the press conferences or they interview players and stuff, like the game this last Saturday, there was a 6-year senior that scored a touchdown, a receiver that scored a touchdown for the first time in his 6 years playing. And it was so just, the quarterback said it's never too late. And I just thought, yeah. You know what I mean?
That's so true.
And I think that that's something that's really powerful about athletics or being part of a team of any kind, right? Like a team on a stage or a team in an orchestra or a team on a field, that the quarterback was like, the only thing I wished is that I would have thrown it to him, that there was like the backup quarterback was in. And so because we were winning big. And so he's like, because he's grown up with the kid, and he stuck it out and he's been there and always been at practice and all those things. And so it was cool to
spend all their time together, don't they?
Yeah.
They just spend so much time together. Yeah. Well, and our sad game. So this is, obviously you're probably not listening to this. By the time you're listening to this, we've won another Super Bowl.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, we had a loss on Sunday. And so but I also think that's how you also learn. And so I think that's another important life lesson. It's not fun to watch a game when we're not winning, but also that's how you get better. If you won every time, it would be hard to learn to do better and to grow. And also everyone just has bad days sometimes, So but it was hard. It was hard.
I mean, at halftime, I kind of thought, okay, we can pull this out. But then, the turnovers and the interceptions and all that kind of stuff, I was like, we're not gonna.
Right. I really thought, okay, well, we're gonna win this when they blocked the field goal.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is it. This is the moment. And then that is not what happened. So it's okay. That's all right. It's just fine.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Oh.
But and I don't know if we should bring up Taylor Swift at all, but there's a lot going on there in Kansas City. But speaking of Taylor, I took our daughter Friday night to go see the Eras Tour movie.
Oh, nice.
And that was really fun. And another, I thought that was a really neat thing that she did that for her fans. I mean, obviously she's going to make a gazillion dollars from it, and it's not totally selfless. But there were a lot of people that couldn't get to that concert.
Sure, no.
So to just give people a chance to see it in a different way was kind of cool.
Yeah, so. I thought the same thing when I had heard, because I didn't know that was going to happen. Maybe it had been released earlier, but I saw that and I was like, okay, same thing. Give folks an experience that I always talk about music, about how powerful it is, and it's the language across the world is music,
Yeah.
regardless of, I would say regardless of zip code and where you live. But so I love that is a piece that can bring people together that
Yeah, it
maybe
is.
couldn't be. Mm-hmm.
I am so excited about our guest today. We have Jana Meister, and she's from this Kansas City area, but she has worked with several local fashion industry organizations, such as Fashion Group International as the regional director for the Kansas City chapter, and she has held the role of fashion editor at Kansas City Fashion Week.
Wow.
Jana has volunteered her time to many runway shows, photo shoots, and media events to promote the growing fashion industry in Kansas City. And that is so cool. Like, this
I
is a
know.
really cool guest today.
Oh,
Jana has styled looks that have been featured in several local and national publications, including In Style Magazine, Her Life Magazine, featured on a Macy's billboard in New York City's
oh
Times
my
Square.
gosh.
That's amazing.
Wow.
And on the Today Show Style Guide. She was
Nice.
recently named 5-time finalist in the Best of Kansas KC Awards by the Pitch Magazine.
Nice.
So
Wow.
amazing. So
Yes.
welcome, Jana.
Thank you. Thank you for
Congratulations.
having
My
me.
goodness.
Is there anything else you'd like us to know about you before we get going?
That's all the professional stuff. I'm married. I have a husband. We've been married for 7 years,
Nice.
and we have a little puppy, Westy, and her name's Lola.
Oh,
Oh,
And
fun.
yeah, I have a
So fun.
sister and just love spending time with family outside of working in fashion. So that's usually what I'm doing.
I love it.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, I was just telling Sandra when we first got on the call that I'm glad that this is audio because with a stylist, I started thinking, I really don't look like I should be talking with a stylist today. Um,
That's okay. Most days I'm in my sweats, hair up,
okay, that makes
running
me feel
errands.
better. That makes me feel
Yes.
better.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you have bling on your headphones? Am I seeing that? Oh,
Is
no.
it
It's just the light. Okay.
okay?
Because I was like, oh my gosh, she's even got her headphones all snazzied up for us.
I think they're just shiny.
It's just shiny. Okay. Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well,
That's
I'm so curious how you got into the fashion industry, Jana.
Well, I started on the retail side of fashion. I worked in retail for many years. Started kind of my styling in the store with customers and clients. And from there, decided that that's where I wanted to go in my career. And I moved to Chicago and I went to fashion school in Chicago for a couple of years.
wow.
And then I moved back home to Kansas City and I started to attend Johnson County Community College for the fashion
Yeah.
merchandising program there.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And while I was there, I started meeting a lot of people doing things here in Kansas City. And that just led me down a path of working with Fashion Group International and Kansas City Fashion Week and just taking every opportunity that I could to work in the industry. So that's kind of how the ball started rolling. And then I started the blog kind of for fun. I didn't think that it would really turn into anything.
Yeah.
But now that's where everybody finds me and where I share all of my style tips and what I'm working on. So that's like the hub of everything that I do.
That's so
Great.
cool. And we'll make sure
Yeah.
to share the link for your blog in our show notes for people who want
Yeah.
to come find you there.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah. I love that you shared that your some of your experience or where you're at now is because of the relationships and the connections that you had while
Oh,
you were in
100%.
school.
Yeah, I feel like I don't say no to anything like this. I'm not really used to doing podcasts, but I mean, I love meeting people and sharing my passion for fashion. And so I just will take any opportunity to meet people, go to events. I love to be busy and doing things. And I think that has really helped me make those connections. I think if you want to be a vlogger, it's easy sometimes to get behind the screen and kind of stay there. But I
Mm-hmm.
think the best relationships that I've made have been through networking, the events that I've participated in, volunteering with a lot of the fashion shows that I've done. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if you're wanting to get into this industry, you really have to be able to put yourself out there and meet people. Yeah, and just make connections. That's the
Yeah.
important thing.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, especially when your work seems kind of virtual, right, with the blog and being behind the
Right.
screen. But like you said, it's important to have those real human connections. I think that's good
Oh, yes,
advice.
for sure. Yeah, I think that has
been one of the best things that I've done is to be not only behind the screen, commenting with people and making connections online, but also attending events and making those personal relationships as well.
That makes so much sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, well, do you want to tell us about the words you're sharing with us today?
Oh, yes. Sorry, I didn't write them down.
I have what you sent Karen, so if we need to read it, we can.
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay, so it was a couple of quotes that you shared with us from Kate Spade, which do you want to tell everyone who Kate Spade is just in case they aren't familiar with
Yes.
her?
So when I was in college, when I was just starting out in my fashion career, I remember her being just like this big designer. Everyone knew who Kate Spade was. Her bags were so popular. And she was the first designer that I can remember really connecting with and just like being in awe of. And I was lucky enough to meet her when she was here in Kansas City for a
Oh,
launch at
cool.
Halls.
Yep.
And she's just someone that I just have loved her inspiration, I guess, through fashion. I think that's been something I've always connected with. So I've had a couple of her quotes on notebooks, and I am like a scrap kind of person, like all the little notes and sayings. I keep all of those. And I remember having this quote on one of my planners, and I just have always loved her sayings and quotes. I think they're inspiring. And I love that she has the Kansas City connection. So that's why I shared it with you guys.
Yes.
I love
Okay, so the two quotes. The first one is surround yourself with the things you love, discard the rest.
that.
And then
Yeah.
the other one is style is the sum of so many things, beginning with the sense of who you are and having self-confidence.
Mm.
Yeah. For me, I feel like fashion is about confidence. And I feel like I really connect with that quote because some of the women that I style and I have made relationships with, I feel like just like a certain shirt or a lipstick can just change how you feel for the day. And it's just the small, simple things I think as women that we do to make ourselves feel better. And I just think sometimes maybe those things don't get thought of. Fashion seems very surface level, but through some of the women that I've styled, I've helped them find things that make them feel good. It really can change your day, change the whole vibe of everything you have going on. And I love that she said that and she puts that out there. And I connect with that.
The first quote about surrounding yourself with the things you love, I think that is such a great reminder or permission, right? That we
Yeah.
don't have to do it. We don't have to, we don't have to decorate our house one way. We don't have to put our clothes together a certain way. That it really is just being true to what you do love.
Right. Yeah. Find your passion, whatever it is. If it's clothes or something else, and have those things in your life that matter. I think sometimes we get busy doing things for other people, especially as women, and forget to do those small things for ourselves. So, yeah, like I said, like a lipstick color or a top or something, a color of a certain thing that makes you feel good. I think that those are all things that we can do as women to make ourselves feel good each day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think something I struggle with in my life is wanting my things to look perfect or feeling like my things are not good enough sometimes because of just, what you see on Pinterest, for example, or in a magazine. And so this quote speaks to me in the sense of like, maybe it doesn't look like a fashion magazine, or maybe my house doesn't look like a architectural digest feature, but having the things I love in it is good enough.
Right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
not comparing yourself to other people, I think.
Yeah. The comparison game is definitely real, especially with Instagram and Pinterest and blogs. It's easy to think that what you have isn't enough, but if we as individuals just focus on what we have that is makes us our best self. And I think fashion is a part of that as women. I think that whatever you do for yourself makes you feel better.
I am intrigued. Earlier, you said that you are a scrap person and
Oh,
that
yeah.
you kind of keep notes and stuff. And
Yeah.
can you kind of describe that? Because I wonder if that's kind of something that people, again, don't really think about as a way to figure out your confidence or figure out your identity, figure out the things that you love. How
For
can,
sure.
or how has that, if you will, approach helped you, or that could be suggested to our listeners to think about?
I think that started for me in college. I went to art school, so I always had the drawing pad or a notebook, and I would cut things out of magazines, different sayings and quotes, or fabric swatches,
Mm.
just anything that inspired me.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually still have them. Actually, they're at my mom's house. I found them the other day.
Mm.
But I have always done that even before Pinterest was the thing.
Right.
I think that's kind of changed it a little bit, but
Mhm.
I like tangible, I don't know, I just like the act of collecting the poems and quotes and all of
Mhm.
those things. And I think maybe it does help me be inspired by fashion and what I wear. And I love to look up trends in magazines and cut things out.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
just have always enjoyed doing that. I think it is inspiring. It kind of like focuses you on what you like on other people and what you want to try in your own wardrobe. So that's something I've done for a really long time. And I I just like a real life Pinterest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
that's like a real life version of it, something you can
Yes.
touch and hold. And do
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have a certain way that you store things?
I have so many notebooks, so many I in my office it's just like I have a whole bunch of them. Um I don't really have like a system. I probably should, but I think
You
for me,
know,
like the
that's
inspiring
okay.
part is just
Yeah.
collecting it all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like scrapbooking, just to
Yeah,
keep it
Right.
all. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
yeah,
And not having a system can be a system. That's you
Right.
you get to do it how you
that's
want.
true.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
yes.
I love that. I remember when I was younger, like when my husband and I first got married and we were just renting a house. And so I would go through magazines and cut out like things I loved about a house and,
Oh
tape
yeah.
them into a spiral notebook or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
and and then I think you're right. There's something about that that I probably really miss because of Pinterest, right? Like
Yeah.
it is literally that tactile, the textures, the action that you take. I don't think I ever did it with fashion, so I might need to learn that
Right.
because I am a
Me.
t-shirt and but but for the house I always did. But
Yeah. Yeah,
so
it's like the same concept.
yeah,
I
yeah,
yeah.
that's cool. I love
As we're
that.
as we're talking about fashion here, and for me it's not a world I'm very familiar with, so I'm really enjoying learning from you. I feel like there's this element of creativity, and I bring this up because we've been talking in this podcast with a lot of folks from various backgrounds,
Mm.
and creativity seems to come up almost every time when we're talking about positivity and mental health and well-being. And it sounds like the fashion industry and the work that you do is just creativity, is just a big piece of that. And do you find that that is helpful for you?
Oh yeah. Yes, because my blog and all my styling and the things that I do are a side hustle for me. I work full time. So this has always been my outlet, all my creative juices go into what I'm doing
Mhm.
in the blog and even with planning photo shoots, putting outfits together and just like working with other people. I feel like it inspires me. It like ignites my creativity. So definitely fashion is that for me, and it always has been. It's what I do when I'm stressed or I want to have fun, or it's just the
Yeah.
thing I always turn to. Yeah, so I'm always grateful that I have been able to continue to do it even after college and having a full-time job. I found a way to make it work for me. And
Mhm.
I don't know if that's why I'm so inspired through my blog when I meet people and I do fashion shows because it is my creative outlet and
Yeah.
I definitely get a lot from doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And I apologize. I'll just be totally transparent. I thought that this was your like kind of your full-time, work that
Yeah.
you did. And so can you talk to us a little bit about how you can balance, right? Like I think that that's a piece that's so important of balancing, a full-time job or a career with the things that make you the happiest or that de-stress or that bring that balance for folks to be able to do both, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely hard. It's not easy. There's a lot of
Mhm.
things, I do this on the nights and the weekends, and I am fortunate where I have a job that's a little bit more flexible, so I can take time away and go and do this.
Mhm.
But it's definitely not easy. I think if you love something, you have to be really committed to making it happen. And like I said, I love doing it, so it makes it easy for me to
Mhm.
give up time maybe doing other things so that I can focus on this and make meetings with people and do my styling side hustle.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, I know a lot of people that blogging is a side hustle for them. So I think it kind of comes with the territory. And I know that. And it's nice too. I can kind of make my own schedule with it. If something doesn't work on a
Sure.
certain day, I can do this at nights and weekends and write blog posts whenever or
Yeah.
wherever. So I think that helps. But I think if you're wanting to start a blog and you do have a full-time job, there's definitely a way to do it. It's just going to take a lot of commitment.
Mhm.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. And also, though, I wonder because you do have a job that you're not depending on the blog for your income,
Right.
does that allow you to be more free with it? To feel like you can kind of do it your way or not?
I know what you mean. Yeah, like it
Yeah.
takes the pressure off of it a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've
Mhm.
tried to do it full time before, and then it becomes harder to have that creative piece, I think,
Mhm.
because you're relying on it for income. And I really want to be as authentic as I can through my blog and my Instagram. And I want it to be fun. That's what it is for me. So I know other people are looking at the fashion as an escape. I've always enjoyed kind of being busy, and I actually feel like I thrive when this is
Sure.
my side hustle.
Mhm.
So I've made it work, but there's definitely challenging times.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I was going to ask about earlier, you said that some of the connections that you've had with volunteering or working in the different places. How do you see connections and or relationships being part of what makes this area of interest so powerful or so important to you? Can you kind of
Uh,
explore that?
well, honestly, when I moved back to Kansas City, I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to continue working in the fashion industry. When
Mhm.
when I moved and went away to college at the time, everyone said, if you want to work in fashion, you have to go to New York or LA. You can't do it in Kansas City. And so I feel like I had that in the back of my head when I moved back home.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I feel really proud that I was able to continue this 10 years later. I'm
Mhm.
still working,
Yeah.
I'm still doing styling and doing fashion. It may not be the way I thought it was going to be, but I mean, I've made a ton of connections and I've still been able to travel to New York Fashion Week several times. And like you said, I've had a national coverage of my blog. So, and I've
Right.
made all that happen by being here in Kansas City. And I'm really proud of that. And I think that if you want to work in an industry or you want something to work for you, there's always a way. And I
Mhm.
feel like I wish I would have known that in the beginning, but I'm really proud of all that I've been able to do. And I've seen the Kansas City fashion industry grow so much while
Mhm.
I've been working on my blog. And I think it's really cool. And I'm really proud of it.
That's
But those
Mhm.
connections also made a huge difference
Mhm.
in that happening.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. That's really good.
Yeah.
I wanted to explore this quote, the second quote where it says, "Style is the sum of so many things, beginning with a sense of who you are and having self-confidence." Because I think some people might look at fashion as something that's just external, like something that you see. But to me, this quote and talking with you, it's like it's an expression of something internal. Do you see it that way? Like, how do you work with people to kind of develop a style for themselves?
For sure. Yeah. I think sometimes women feel guilty about that in a
Mm,
way. You know, they're like, I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel confident. I could never wear that. I hear that a lot. I'll show something on the blog and that looks great on you, but I could never wear that. And I feel
mhm,
like sometimes we don't give ourselves like the opportunity to try things and just be open to
mhm.
trends and just try it, you know. I'm always like, I want people to like break out of their shell and just try things. And I think that maybe as women we sometimes we hold ourselves back from just being free to try things and be open to fashion. And honestly, that's where the creativity in it comes for me, and I get inspired by just trying things and
Mhm.
giving it a shot. I
Cool.
definitely think it's like in your internal voice, turning it down a little bit, you know,
Mhm.
like the critic inside, and just giving things a try.
Yeah, tapping into the positive stuff and trying to turn that critic down. That is
Yes.
hard.
Mhm.
Yes, it
That is
is.
hard.
It is.
Do you have
Mhm.
any
Especially
advice
with
for
your
just like
clothes. I feel like clothes are so personal.
yeah, they are. I mean, you really literally wear them on yourself. So
Yeah.
they are
Yes.
personal and then everyone can see it. So it's like it's personal and it's public at the same
Yes.
time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 I'm thinking about myself and who I used to be with clothing and who I am now. And a lot of that's come from accepting the body that I have, for example, and
Yeah.
not trying to have a different body. And
Yes.
so, I don't have to hide things or cover everything up in a way to like hide from people and can
Yeah.
try different things. I'm more comfortable now at this age than I was younger.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't know that the age is so much as just like the time of trying to like figure out who I am.
Mhm.
That
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like sometimes we're so afraid of what someone else is going to think about something that we like.
hmm
Mhm.
Like just to only take your own opinion on something.
Mhm.
Because I mean, I do it too. I'm like, even to my husband, I'm like, is this cute? Do I look, you know, like, I'm like, do I look weird? I think we all do that naturally. But yeah, I feel like if you're going to find your personal style, you kind of have to turn those voices off just a little bit to try to find what makes you feel the best you. And it's hard though. It is hard.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So as you say that, I'm thinking, okay, so do do I have a style? I don't know if I have a style. Like, how would somebody know if they have a style, or what would be like one of the first steps that you would take in order to really empower people with that confidence and to turn down, like you said, that internal critic?
The internal critic.
Yes.
I would say find like your favorite three pieces in your wardrobe, some three things that you always go to, and take them, lay them out, look at them, and try to create outfits around those pieces,
Mhm.
you know, different bottoms, tops, jackets, things that you're always kind of circulating that's your core style. Those are the three things that you love to wear, and create your wardrobe like around those three items.
Okay.
I feel like that's really gonna hone in. Like sometimes even with myself, your wardrobe gets so cluttery. Like you have all
Mhm.
these things. You're like, how do I wear all
Yes.
those together? You
Yes.
know? Yeah, so that's the worst. Like you have too much and you can't like narrow down what you like and what
hmm
you like to wear. And I think if you just, you know, minimize the clutter and bring it into three pieces that you love and build outfits around those items, I feel like you could probably start to really narrow in on what you like to wear and what your key style is.
That's interesting. So you can have too many clothes. Is that what you're saying,
Oh,
Jana?
100%. Yes.
I feel like that might be me sometimes. And then then you open your closet and say, I don't have anything to wear. And that's absolutely not true in that
Yeah.
situation.
It's almost like too much. Like you can't figure out what you want to wear because you have too many options or
Right.
just too many things and you haven't narrowed down and put them into actual functioning outfits.
Yeah. So so it makes sense to me to like weed through that and try to get down to the like core.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's like from like the thinking perspective to kind of hone in on what it is like that what's your style? What your style is this thing. I'm trying to think of the things that I wear all the time. I can think right now one top that I would wear every day if I could. So I feel like that's one of the top three things
Yeah.
and what
So
that
just
style
take
looks
that
like.
top and then find multiple like bottoms that you can wear with it to create several different looks, different jackets,
Hmm.
different accessories, and like change it up.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And I also love that you're saying less is more here. So when you're talking about like the cost of things, and if you're on a
Yes,
budget, which almost everyone's on a budget of some kind, that you don't have to have everything, right? You can pick the things that are just hone in on those things that are the best for you.
for sure. I think as I've gotten older, I feel like that's become more important to me also. I'm
Hmm.
definitely a quality over quantity. Like that's where I have been here lately. I'm like, get rid of all the things that are just taking up space in my closet and my wardrobe. And I just want to have things that I feel like are really good, polished looks and create outfits around those items. I think,
Hmm.
like I said, as I've gotten older, I feel like that is definitely more important to me than having the fast fashion, the top you wear at one time and then never wear it again. And it just takes up space.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's like a metaphor in that too for just how we live our lives, right? Like we have so
Yes,
many things going on and so many things that could be taking our attention, and it's important to hone in on what's most important and maybe let some things go.
for sure. Yes.
Yeah. Is there a number of things that you advise people, or does it just depend on the person?
It just depends on the person. I know some people have more clothes than other people,
Yeah.
and some people really know what they like and what they don't like.
Yeah.
So I feel like when I've worked with people in the past, kind of editing their closet, I don't do so much of this anymore. I should say that. I used to do a lot more of it. My
Right.
blog has kind of taken over a
Yeah.
lot of my time. But when I used to do it, yeah, a lot of people, some people have more clothes than others. Some people really understand their personal style more than others. Some people, I would go and help them just try to figure that out, what they like, what they don't like, clean
Hmm.
up some of the things in their wardrobe they never wear or never will wear again. Because that's another thing as women, we always hold on to things thinking, oh, someday I'll wear this,
Someday
you
I'll
know?
wear that thing that I'll never wear again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Someday these jeans will fit again like they did when I was 20. uh,
Right.
yeah.
Well, and I feel like so like going back to how like I've had to work with like accepting my body when I've held on to stuff like that, then it just makes me feel bad all the time. Like, why can't I
Yes.
wear that anymore? Or, it's just a reminder of like a time that's not coming back. So,
Yeah.
um, I like for everything in my closet to fit the body I have right now.
That's right. Yeah, I
And
have to tell myself that too. I mean, as women, we fluctuate in weight up and down, and
yeah,
the style changes. And sometimes you just got to let everything go and start over. And that's okay. You don't have to
yeah,
hold on to things just
yeah,
because.
yeah, just
And I
because.
do think it holds you back a little bit. It holds you back thinking that you're going to wear something again, or I fit into it one time, so I could fit into it again, and then you feel bad about yourself. I definitely, my weight has gone up and down, and there are things that I've kept that I shouldn't have. But I think that starting over, starting fresh is a good way to kind of
Yeah.
build that wardrobe, find who you are now in this moment, what fits you now.
And then I have a dress, like I always laugh because I still wear this dress I've had since before my husband and I got married. And we've been married for 15 years almost. So I'll never get rid of this dress. But it's like one of those where you can wear it at different sizes. It's just very
Oh,
forgiving
yeah.
as far as just the way it's constructed. So,
Yeah.
and it never goes out of style. It is a black dress, but it never goes out
Oh, well, yes, a little black dress. There are definitely exceptions for those.
in your field. There can be criticism that you have to deal with. Have you had to develop a thick skin for that, or how have you handled that part of it?
Yes, fortunately, I haven't had too many times where someone has said something hurtful, but it has happened, and I try to just, you know, brush it off. Or I get 10 positive comments for the one negative comment, and that's the comment that you like to focus on.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So sometimes I take social media breaks, which I have done this year. I took a really big social media break, And I think that's okay sometimes, just to step away if it's too much or you're getting too focused on some of those negative comments.
Mhm.
That has worked for me. It did work for me and I needed it just
Yeah.
to clear my head and not be on the screen all the time. But I try to tell myself, you've done way more positive things for people through fashion than that one negative comment is leading you to believe.
Yeah.
So develop a thick skin and trusting that a lot of people like what you're doing and love your fashion and your style, and just trying to stay positive instead of focusing on the negative.
Yeah, yeah. If Sandra were here, she likes to talk about brain science a lot, and
Mm,
she talks about how we're kind of wired to notice the criticisms. It's kind of a safety evolution thing that we're wired to do, so we can fixate on that stuff. So we have to really be intentional about how we're going to combat that, how we're going to focus on the positive things and find the good in those
yeah,
challenging situations for sure.
yeah. And it kind of comes with the territory. I know I'm putting myself out there on the internet for people
Yeah.
to look at my clothes and judge me for what I look like. So I don't know. It is hard. It is one of those things that sometimes I just have to unplug from it all.
Yeah.
I try to stay positive as much as I can.
Well, and I didn't even think about that when we started talking about how putting a blog out, you're really putting it out there into the
hmm
public. When you first started, was that something that made you feel nervous? Have you gotten just more comfortable with that over time or?
Honestly, when I first started my blog, Instagram was nothing like it is now.
Uh-huh.
A lot of the focus was actually on the blog and writing the
Mm-hmm.
content. And I feel like I could maybe like filter it a little bit more when I was
Yeah.
putting it on my website rather than putting it on social media.
Mm-hmm.
I think as I've gone on, social media has definitely taken over a bigger role in my blogging and my fashion, just network things I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like in the beginning, I could filter it a little bit more than I can now.
Mm-hmm.
And I have struggled with it a little bit here lately, just like you said, the comments and things. But I, I think I've gotten used to it in a weird way.
Yeah.
I just kind of know when I'm putting it out there that I'm taking that risk, that I'm making myself vulnerable to someone not liking it or someone saying something. And
Right.
sometimes, honestly, I'll wait a couple days before I read comments on an outfit,
Uh-huh.
kind of give it some time. I'm like, well, it's already been up there for 2 days, so I can't really do anything about it now.
Right. Right. Well, and like
Yeah,
not everyone's gonna like everything, and that's
that's right.
okay. And then social media is just so tough because people, I think, say things there they wouldn't say any other place. So,
Yes, agree.
yes, it's hard. That's hard. But yeah, well, as we wrap up, we always like to ask our guests this question. So we ask all of our guests, as of today, right now, what is your favorite word?
Oh, what is my favorite word?
And it could be like related to what's going on in your life, or you just like the sound of it, or
I've been thinking a lot about next year, like
Mhm.
traveling. So maybe like having a little bit of wanderlust.
Oh, I love that's a good word, wanderlust. That's a beautiful word.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I've just been
love
like
that.
thinking a lot about, this is the end of the year. We're almost to the new year, and like thinking, we were talking about vision boards and mood boards earlier, and I was thinking I really need to get all my scrap stuff out and kind of start visioning my 2024. So
Yeah.
I would say like wanderlust. I'm like, what's next? What's next for me?
I love that. That's perfect. I know we don't want people to think about it ahead of time so it can be not prepared, but then people are like, "Wait, I don't know." That's perfect. That's perfect. I love it.
It just
Yeah.
came to me.
Yeah. Well, and this time of year is funny because it's cold. It's so cold today, actually. And it's like a time I want to hibernate and really think about what's going to come next year.
Yeah,
But I like wanderlust. That's a great word.
I'm the
Um,
same.
and then are there any resources or connections in the community that you want listeners to know about, like your go-to social media, blogs, websites, things like that?
Ooh. Well, I would say if you're kind of like wanting to bust into blogging or fashion, to check out Kansas City Fashion Week. A lot of people don't know this. Like, there's a garment museum in Kansas City.
I did not know
Uh,
that. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. Maybe tap into some of I can't remember what it's called. There's a few professional networking groups in Kansas City. And when I
Mm-hmm.
first started kind of wanting to get into fashion, I went to a lot of KC professional networking events, and you
Mm-hmm.
can find those on Facebook by searching the groups. And they have like happy hours and small events. And I think that kind of helped me build a network when I moved back to Kansas City and I was trying to meet people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just searched some of the Facebook groups around the area and attend some of the happy hours.
Cool. That's great advice no matter what industry that you are interested in or just
Yeah,
things in your life you're interested in. Yeah, to get to
yeah,
know who in town is doing that too. Um,
right.
and can you tell everyone how to find you on social media and on the interweb?
Sure. You can find me on my blog at janastyleblog.com. And I'm on Instagram under my name, Jana_Meister is my handle. That's where I post most of my content. I am on Facebook as well at Jana Style Blog. So you can find me there and let me know that you heard the podcast. I'd love to know that's how you found
Yay.
me.
Wonderful. Yeah, and we'll make sure to share that in the show notes as well. And then as always,
Okay.
we want everyone to make sure to check out our resources at kclibrary.org and at jfskc.org for our programs and resources. And until next time, we challenge you to listen, react, and respond to the power of words. Thanks, Jana. It's been so fun having you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed this episode of Power of Words.
This episode is produced by the Kansas City Public Library and Jewish Family Services of Greater Kansas City with support from AmeriCorps.
We encourage you to explore our health resources and services available in the show notes.
And follow or subscribe for new episodes wherever you listen to your favorite podcast.